Well, you sound like a Democrat.
I'm not.
Well, in case you're like me and you do not watch the show, that clip that has been going viral for the last 48 hours over on X is from this Sunday's episode of HBO's Euphoria. And you might be thinking, okay, Brett, you have said before that you do not watch the show. You just said it again. Why are we talking about this vulgar, depraved piece of television? I mean, the left is mad because now they think that Euphoria is conservative coded. Conservatives are now saying, we love Euphoria. We love Sydney Sweeney. We're going to own the libs with this clip. The hoes on OnlyFans have also jumped in. They're pissed off with how they're being portrayed on the show. And Sam Levinson, who is the freak of a director, is sitting back in his Hollywood mega mansion laughing at everybody online because everybody is falling for his very obvious rage bait. But not me. I'm not falling for it because the only thing I am actually outraged over is the real life Sydney Sweeney's choice in men. Obviously, we're going to talk about that too. But before we dive into this entire story and all the discourse, make sure that you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell if you want to stay up to date on everything that we're doing here on the Red Cooper channel. And by the way, if you guys are in Tennessee in the greater Nashville area, I'm doing another show at Zany's May 19th. Come out. It's super fun. I tell stories. We do like a live version of the show. We make fun of the craziest things on the internet. It's a great time. Again, next week, May 19th at Zany's if you're in Nashville. All right. So Euphoria, just in general, it becomes the talk of the internet, the talk of the town square every single time they release an episode. Like I said, this is not a TV show that I watch. Now, to be frank, I really don't watch a lot of television, but I remember watching the first ever episode of Euphoria in 2019, the first season. All of my friends in LA were talking about it. Everybody wanted to be on this cool new HBO show. I was like, great, you know, teenagers in high school. It's all cool and colorful. Let's watch it. And I remember being absolutely flabbergasted. I was like, okay, no, crossing the line. This is really grotesque. It's very vulgar. And quite frankly, it was just not for me. So this is not a critique on the show, on the actors or anything, again, because I don't watch it. So I have no place in saying any of that. More so, this is a reaction to the people who are losing their minds on the internet about this most recent episode. So all of this has to do, obviously, with Sydney Sweeney, the most controversial woman in Hollywood, it seems. So it has to do with her character on the show because it's her. So again, like I said, everybody is already going to be nitpicking. These are the people in our society who still think that she is a Nazi because she did a jeans commercial and talked about her good jeans. So already they are predisposed to be upset with her. But anyway, I had my producer fill me in because she watches the show. Shame, shame, shame. And you guys might remember this. We actually talked about it back in 2024, I think it was, on comment section. But they did this time jump after they had taken a really long hiatus between the last two seasons to make the show less risky and less edgy. So Pop Base posted at the time, season 3 of Euphoria will have a time jump that moves the storyline away from high school and into early adulthood, which we are seeing now. The characters will be older to make the show's edgy theme of sex and drugs less risky. So everybody was like losing their mind, being like, this is so inappropriate, this is crazy. So they said, all right, we'll just do a time jump. My thought is you should have considered that before you made a bunch of high school characters drug and sex addicted. Just saying. So anyway, like I was saying, just to get everybody on the same page, the show has now jumped 5 years in the future. That is what the current season is revolving around. And essentially, now all these characters are in their mid-20s, every single character ends up in some form of sex work. So for example, one character, this is all from my producer, by the way, one character is an agent repping OnlyFans girls. Another is working for a man that owns a strip club and is managing the girls. The trans girl in the show is now a sugar baby. And Sydney Sweeney's character, Cassie, is engaged and living in the suburbs in some kind of like 1960s housewife fantasy world, but she did always want to be an OnlyFans model. Like that's a through line with her character. So her fiance, whose name is Nate in the show, he forbids it because again, they're like living this housewife fantasy. But when she learns that this character, her fiance, is in a mountain of debt, that he's not actually as successful as he led her to believe, she decides to take matters into her own hands to help her family. She's the virtuous wife, I guess. And she decides to do OnlyFans anyway, because obviously that's what she's always wanted to do. The fiance, once he realizes how much money she's making, how successful she's become, he gets on board. And so from there, their picture perfect 1960s housewife, suburban, trad family falls apart. So now TLDR, or too raunchy didn't watch, is what I would say. You are all caught up. We are on the same page here. So Sydney's character is being an OnlyFans model in this current season. That's what they were talking about in Sunday's episode. And in the show, they have her doing just really insane stuff. I mean, she's doing all of this weird fetish play, puppy play, age play. There are other characters that are doing similar things. Like another character is doing something called mummification. And all of this, guys, listen, it is really, really pissing off the real life OnlyFans models, because apparently all of that Euphoria is covering is just a step too far. It is too fetishy. It is too cartoonish. So this was a real article in one of the Hollywood trades. The headline reads, Sydney Sweeney's Euphoria sex worker is really pissing off OnlyFans models. And then listen to this. The show's depiction of OnlyFans models via Cassie, that is Sydney's character, has, however, rankled real-life OnlyFans creators who already find themselves subject to enough mockery and scorn due to their life of work. Now, unfortunately, I really don't have a lot of sympathy, but that's a topic for another episode. Now, to be fair, what I will say is that I do understand one point that these people are trying to make, because the thing that a lot of people are actually really pressed about is the show's depiction of age play, or Cassie dressing up as a baby for her OnlyFans stuff. So one OnlyFans girl said, there is just a lot that is ridiculous and cartoonish about it. There is so much that they have her doing that is not even allowed on OnlyFans, and that alone is infuriating. The age play stuff where she's dressed up as a baby in a diaper, for example, credit card processors have very strict rules that you have to abide by, and the rules are getting stricter all the time. Now, what I do find interesting about this quote is that she's not saying that it's gross, that it's reprehensible. She's simply saying, it's not allowed, so why would you do that? Rather than saying, this is so grotesque, I am embarrassed by this is awful, we push back against these allegations. She's just saying, the credit card processors won't allow it. Like, that's not very convincing. Anyway, another one said, in the climate we're in, that they dressed her up as a baby to make pornographic OnlyFans content was beyond troubling, and again serves to perpetrate the stereotypes that sex workers have no moral compass and that they will do anything for money. And then there's always this untrue stigma that somehow sex work is synonymous with sex trafficking and abuse. Maybe it's because the rates of sex trafficking and abuse within the pornographic porn world, sex work community is insane. It's a very real thing. Anyway, she goes on and says, and they just said, let's make a joke of it. That is so funny, but I am not laughing. Now, here's the thing. I understand that a lot of these girls, these creators, that they don't do that they don't cross that line with age play, whatever it is. But we also know that other people do, that it might be more common than anybody actually wants to admit. Like, we live in a climate where journalists in mainstream publications have supported child sex robots to help minor attracted persons, aka pedophiles. We have singers like Olivia Rodrigo. This is in a more tame but cultural sense. Like, she's on stage on her tour right now wearing what looks like a baby bubble onesie while singing about sex on stage. There are people every day getting arrested for having child porn on their computers. Like, it's grotesque, it's dark, it's infuriating, but that also is the world that we live in. So love it or hate it, they are not portraying something that is so out there, that's crazy, that is incomprehensible, that would never be involved in this sex work industry that doesn't exist. No, they are portraying something that unfortunately does exist. It might not exist on your OnlyFans page, but it certainly does exist in the world of porn. And you do also have to admit the irony of the girl saying that, she feels like the show is portraying her as if she's willing to do anything for money. Like, girl, you still are on OnlyFans, just saying. Anyway, what I actually think is happening is that maybe, possibly, crazy idea, but I think that maybe the storyline is just hitting a little too close to home for some of these people. I mean, listen to this. So this was actually posted by one of my old bosses at FEE, which is the Foundation for Economic Education. John, he said, the timing of this Variety article is peak irony. OnlyFans models angry about how they're depicted on Euphoria HBO, including a surgeon who enjoys mummifying. So that's one of the characters on the show. It's a fetish. And then he goes on and he says that piece was dropped days after an OnlyFans model was convicted in the filmed suffocation of a client that she wrapped in saran wrap. So in the show, one of the characters, again, they are all sex workers. So this is not Sydney Sweeney's character. This is a different character. They get mummified in this weird sex fetish sense. And then just 1 week ago, an OnlyFans model literally pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter after she did that exact thing for a client with saran wrap, and he died. So no, this is not, again, it's not off base. This is not cartoonish, maybe, possibly. It's actually a little bit realistic. Now, there was a great line in a Manhattan Institute article about this entire controversy, and I think it fits right in here. So the author wrote, Sam Levinson's Euphoria is doing something similar, and in some ways doing it more brazenly. The show is not conservative in its tone or its aesthetics. It is loudly offensive. It's hypersexual. It is soaked in rave-like neon. Its characters are drug addicts, sex workers, and deeply damaged young people doing deeply stupid things to themselves and each other. It does not directly or moralistically preach restraint, but it shows with unflinching honesty what life without restraint actually does to the people living it. And honestly, if you can look past the sometimes shocking, actually always shocking vulgarity of the show, then I would say that that is probably a worthwhile message to explore and take away from the show. And so maybe that is what these triggered OnlyFans models are taking away from it. Maybe the mirror was held up in front of their faces and it's just a bit uncomfortable for the people out there who will do anything for money. Now, you know who else will do anything for money? All of those other big cell phone carriers, but not Pure Talk, which is why I love them. Now, paying $70 or $80 or even $90 a month to big wireless for unlimited data is genuinely insanity, especially when Pure Talk, which is my wireless company, is going to give you unlimited high-speed data for just $34.99 a month. Unlimited high-speed data at Pure Talk used to start at $55 a month, but because Pure Talk is constantly innovating, they're pushing to give you more for less. You can now get unlimited high-speed data for just $34.99. If you've looked at Pure Talk in the past, obviously I've been talking about them for years now. If you chose not to make the move at that time, check again. And if you're wondering, is Pure Talk's network really as good as the overpriced big guys with their huge billboards advancing commercials? Well, just try it out for 30 days and let me know. With no contract and no cancellation fees, you have nothing to lose, and I promise you their service is amazing. Make the switch in as little as 10 minutes, and if you ever need help, their US customer service team is standing by to help, and I promise they all speak English. Go to puretalk.com/Cooper to claim unlimited high-speed data for just $34.99. Again, that is puretalk.com/Cooper to switch to my wireless company, America's wireless company, Pure Talk. Now, we all just celebrated Mother's Day, but to continue the celebrations, I would like to urge you guys to consider supporting an amazing organization that truly makes motherhood possible for thousands and thousands of mothers in crisis every single year. Preborn's network of clinics offers free ultrasounds to mothers in need, and that one moment of seeing their baby on an ultrasound for the first time doubles the chance that that mother chooses life, which is crazy, doubles the chance. And Preborn stands by to support her every single step of the way until 2 years after that baby is born, financially, medically, and spiritually. So this May, if you want to continue celebrating Mother's Day, you can be the reason a scared young woman becomes a confident mom. Just $28 provides one ultrasound, which is less than $1 a day, and it could save a life. An $140 donation reaches 5 mothers. Preborn empowers women to be mothers, and the ultrasound is just the beginning because that moment leads to things like maternity care, baby clothes, diapers, and counseling, and so much more. To get involved with the work that Preborn is doing, simply dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. Again, that is pound 250 keyword baby, or you can visit preborn.com/Brett. Again, that is preborn.com/Brett to get involved and give today. Anyway, guys, speaking of irony and the mirror being held up in front of people's faces, the other thing that is ironic about this current Euphoria discourse is the fact that conservatives now have jumped on board to defend Sydney Sweeney's character in the show simply because she parroted some online right-wing talking points in one episode. So here is that clip. It is the longer version of what we watched at the beginning.
Like, if a man today were to say that he wants a girlfriend that can cook or clean, he might as well be screaming the N-word.
Okay. Well, you sound like a Democrat.
I'm not retarded.
All right, so essentially in this clip, Sydney Sweeney's character is on a podcast that Trisha Paytas, she has a little bit of a cameo in the show. She's interviewing Cassie, Sydney's character. And in this moment, Cassie is talking about men getting shamed because they say that they want a traditional woman. And then somebody off camera says, "You sound like a Democrat," and she replies, "I'm not retarded." And so now the entire internet is debating whether that means that her character is a liberal or a Democrat. Because obviously in 2026, that is going to make or break whether you can watch a show, whether conservatives jump in and try to claim ownership, whether liberals cancel it. It is a whole thing. For example, over on Blue Sky, they were really taking this moment seriously. Like somebody said, Sydney Sweeney wasn't acting in this scene. They just happened to hit record without telling her. I saw another post and it was like, this could be a really interesting commentary and satire, but not because of Sydney Sweeney, because she actually believes all of it and it's awful. It's too real. I mean, it was like so intense. Now, somebody over on X posted this and said, liberals are actually so brain dead and delusional that they will project this take as Sydney Sweeney's genuine take IRL because they live in fantasy land every single day of their lives. But here's the thing, guys. Here's what is so infuriating and ironic. Conservatives are doing the exact same thing, and it is embarrassing on both sides. For example, Dinesh D'Souza, he posted this and he said, actress Sydney Sweeney is now being attacked by the left for playing a character in Euphoria that implied you would have to be retarded to be a Democrat. In response to, "You sound like a Democrat," Sydney's character responded, "I'm not retarded. Sydney did nothing wrong." It's like, all right, we're now bringing in the MAGA brigade to defend Sydney Sweeney and her character that's not real on Euphoria. Somebody else commented and said, "Just when I think that this chick can't get any hotter." And I'm just like, I'm reading all of these comments and I want to tear out my hair because I'm like, people, it is a Hollywood show. It is a fictional TV show. This is not Sydney Sweeney we are dealing with here. She is acting. Like, maybe Sydney Sweeney in real life is right-wing. Maybe she's not. I always hear conflicting things about her politics. I actually like that I really don't know where she stands on politics, but she is literally playing a character. She is reading lines that somebody else wrote for her. I mean, unless something comes out and she like ad-libbed this and added this in, maybe then we could have a different conversation. But Sam Levinson put this script in front of her and said, read these lines, which she did, and that is what you guys are responding to. And so what I want to say to the internet at large, for the love of God, stop being so consumed by winning in politics or the culture war that you just become dumb and that everything is some kind of win or loss for your side. And right-wing Twitter, talking to you people specifically, like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but this was actually not a win for you. Because if you look at this episode, this storyline in a broader context, it actually looks really bad. Like the whole shtick of this episode and what Sydney Sweeney's character is doing is that her OnlyFans manager, that's essentially like pimping her out, is telling her to lean more and more into these trad right-wing talking points to get more views and subscribers, to get these traditional men to applaud her. And in doing this, they are literally mocking and commenting on the people online who are easily swayed and exploited by random talking points and bad actors, which, you know, I would say is another relevant takeaway from this show. So maybe I should start watching Euphoria because it seems like there is a lot to learn here. Anyway, Entertainment Tonight wrote about this and provided even more context, saying that in this episode, a montage of Cassie's media appearances sees the blonde bombshell leaning into the trad wife tropes in hopes of courting even more male subscribers. At one point, she tells a pair of hosts that she feels like American men have been treated like second-class citizens, while in the past, men used to be hunters and gatherers and protectors. Now they're being forced to walk around on their tippy toes. It's not natural. She adds in another interview that men should be free. They should be able to speak their mind, voice their desires, all while her own husband, Nate, that's the character, sits at home waiting for his wife's newfound income to save him from a deep, self-imposed financial burden. And then they wrote, later, while reaping the financial benefits of Cassie's online explosion, Maddie, that is her OnlyFans manager, her pimp, offers a pointed observation. You know what's funny? She asks Cassie, the angrier these idiots get, the more money you make. The more controversy you stir up, the crazier things you say, saying retarded, talking about trad wife, whatever, the more money they pay you. I mean, again, I really don't like the show. I was never able to get into it, but that right there is honestly kind of brilliant. It is highlighting this culture war fueled outrage culture and the people who will say or do anything to profit off of both sides. So as Sydney and her character have both the left and the right fighting over her, the sex workers are triggered while other progressives are now triggered because she, in the show, said the word retarded. Like somebody said, I was really upset that she said the R word. After everything that has taken place on this deranged show. Like, for example, let's just take a look at the IMDb Parents Guide. We're just gonna scroll through this here. Severe nudity, torture porn, several characters are raped. There are shootings and stabbings, drug abuse, all involving teenagers, high school students. But yeah, man, oh, retarded. That just took it a step too far. I'm really upset that this really raunchy, vulgar HBO show uttered the word retarded. I mean, give me a freaking break. Somebody on Reddit said, middle-aged man having anal sex with a teenage transsexual is one thing, but I draw the line at naughty words. Like, exactly. You can hate the word. That's totally fine. If you don't want to say it, if you have a problem with it, everybody has their own personal take on it. That is totally fine. But clutching your pearls at this point in time with Euphoria, with everything that has happened on that show that you have watched on your screens, is simply ridiculous. You are bored. You are looking for something to be outraged about. Go touch grass. I promise you, you will be happier. You certainly will be a lot happier than the people who are spreading allegations that Euphoria is now Republican coded. Like, there are now entire Reddit threads dedicated to people breaking this down. And I just want you to hear what they say is Republican coded about Euphoria. So like one person says, there is broad anti-California culture. Apparently that is conservative, to be anti-California. They say everyone coming out to California is vapid, fake, pandemic-era California imagery is used as a social decay backdrop. That's because if you are a common sense person, you know that there was social decay during the pandemic. Number 2, direct anti-California governance and policy. Nate and Jake's repeated complaints about how hard and costly it is to build in California. That's just common sense. Even if you are a progressive, you know that it is difficult. His ideological complaints, too much red tape, too many rules, too much cost, anti-business, environment. Oh gosh, we can't have that. We can't have them talking about that. Number 4, this guy writes various anti-woke coded comments. One character is described as working around a room full of blue-haired zillennials who do the Gen Z finger clap. Number 5, the Christian Texas family is anti-modern liberal. One character muses that the homeschool teens with zero internet access are the happiest people she's ever met. Yeah, probably because they are. Because you people are sex addicted and drug addicted. So guaranteed, the Christian homeschool teens who do not have access to TikTok are happier. But you're posting about this on Reddit, so I doubt you would understand that. Traditional religion unplugged life is healthier than the opposite. A modern liberal culture is spiritually empty, correct? Number 6, his last example is Maddie's comment of, I believe in capitalism. It's so obvious. It's a right-wing dog whistle. Oh my gosh. Guys, it's so scary having to watch a fictional TV show and hear political tropes that do not affirm your beliefs. Oh, dear Redditor, how will you ever survive this atrocity? Sorry if I have no sympathy whatsoever. It just makes me laugh. Now, I'm sorry to inform all of the people who are losing their minds over this, but I just think that the creator, Sam Levinson, the creator of the show, that he just does not care. It is well established that the man is a weirdo. He is a master rage baiter, and honestly, I think that he is critiquing everyone in society. He is holding up the mirror to our entire culture right now. Whether that is the trad LARPing e-girls and the trad men who subscribe to them, the OnlyFans girls who sell their vaginas online for $3 a month subscriptions, yet they preach empowerment and feminism, or just in general, all of the people who live with no moral compass and later have to face the consequences in their life. From the outside looking in, as somebody who does not have her panties in a bunch about all of it, that is what I am seeing. And so my general take on all of this is that it is a fictional TV show. It is a TV show. Watch it, don't watch it. I don't care. You shouldn't care, but do not parade around desperately requiring that this fictional TV show affirms your political identity so that you feel all warm and fuzzy and can post about it and maybe get 1,000 likes. It is a vulgar, sex and drug-fueled show. Caring that much about the values behind it is just embarrassing, honestly. And actually, the only thing that really disturbs me about this entire situation is the real life off-camera Sydney Sweeney and her terrible taste in men because she is dating Scooter freaking Braun. Like, Sydney, I defended you against the Nazi allegations, you triggering OnlyFans girls, the right and the left, but this might actually be my line in the sand. Scooter Braun. Just kidding. Date whoever you want, but maybe not.